Hello again, students. So I want to introduce you now to an entrepreneurial financial model. This is a model that has been set up not to bury you in the details of financial analysis or create an accountant out of you. It's to give you the tools you need to really build your business and also to prepare you for the finance class that comes up next in your program. So there's several sheets for those of you who are new to Excel. You can see down here at the bottom, follow my mouse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sheets. I'm going to create videos for each sheet walking you through how to develop them, how to create this model. They build on each other, and ultimately we get to, right here you can see we're at a pro forma income statement. They'll build your financial statements for this business if you follow them through carefully. And remember the rules of the spreadsheets that we've laid out before. If it's in blue, that means it's yours to play with. It's yours to change. So you can, in this income statement, for example, you can add the revenue streams by name, put in the amounts per month. You can create formulas in here if you feel comfortable doing that in Excel. When in doubt, anything in black, by the way, to tag on that, that means there's a formula in it. Don't mess with the formula or else it'll throw the sheet off and you'll have to recreate it. When in doubt, click on a cell, and if you can't tell the difference between the blue and the black, sometimes your eyes deceive you. If there's a 0 in this formula bar, this is the formula bar here. There it is, formula bar, you can see that. If there's a 0 in it or it's blank, that means you can control it. If there is something in it, that means it's a formula. Anything with an equal sign, the way I do Excel, has a formula in it. So let's go to the beginning, and they go sequentially just like we read left to right. So this first video, not only am I just laying out what we're doing here, but I also want to talk about the competitor analysis sheet. This is probably the easiest one to fill out for you guys. We'll start easier and then build to more levels of complexity, something like that anyway. This is a simple qualitative, who are your competitors? So find the blue. You can see we have stuff to enter here. Number one, this is blue font. Enter your company's name. Now go through, or if it's blank, you can enter on it too. Now go through and put your major rivals in. I've given you space for 8 of them. You can add cells if you'd like to add more, but this should give you a good start. A thing to remember with competition. Certainly folks that are selling, other companies selling similar products or services to you need to be included here. I want to see who they are. It shows that you've done your homework. It establishes credibility. If you are one of those who believes that you don't have competition because your product or service is so novel and unique, I would say, quite frankly, you just haven't looked hard enough. And perhaps what you're really competing against is not a rival, not another company, but the status quo. If you haven't given customers a compelling reason to switch their current behavior, that may be your competitor. So let me try to rephrase. If you are selling a product that it's meeting a need for a customer, or if you have a service, it's meeting a need, it's solving a problem for a customer. Your question you need to ask in a competitive analysis is, how are they solving that problem currently? If the answer is they're buying another product, well, guess what? You've got another company. You've got a rival. If the answer is they're developing a workaround in their own life, that's your competition. I need you to articulate that, because any investor or anybody really trying to be motivated by your business is going to want to know what is it that is compelling about your product or service that makes it hard for customers to resist. Right? Because either you found a way, however they're solving it now, you found a way that's infinitely cheaper or quicker or more convenient, right? So here's all I want in this spreadsheet. I want you to write down the name of the rival, where they're located. Some of you, for virtual businesses, this isn't going to matter as much because you're going to compete over the internet. So if you're strictly a virtual business and your rivals are virtual, you'll need to say that. If you've got a physical site, I want to know what rivals are in your physical. Now, if you're trying to expand globally, nationally, include how many of your rivals are doing that. If it's a restaurant you're setting up in St. Pete, you ought to have a bunch of restaurants here that are in St. Pete, not in Ocala, right? If the competitor has a website, I want to see that. What's your rival's value proposition? What unique value do they provide the customers? We'll get to in a minute how it's different than yours. What is their target market? I've told you before, arguably the most important thing an entrepreneur can do early on is get a really refined target market. It drives think about it, it drives your expenses down as you're trying to do your marketing and advertising efforts. The more eyeballs on it, the more it's going to cost you. So it makes sense to really refine that target market. There are also going to be folks, if you've identified them well, who could be early adopters, alpha customers. So who is the target market for your rival, right? And then how much market penetration, I'm going to skip ahead, do they have in that target market? Because obviously I'm going to know your target market as well. What features does your competitor have that are similar to yours, to your product or service? What is dissimilar? What do they have maybe that you don't? Or what do you have that they don't? What is their pricing structure? And then we talked about market penetration. So that's it for this first spreadsheet, or for this first tab, this first worksheet we call it, on this spreadsheet. Stay tuned for the next on customer acquisition costs.